and gentlemen, we got him.
Very, very good. The open of the press conference in Orem, Utah. The governor of the state of Utah, Spencer Cox, there with Kash Patel of the FBI and the head of the state police in Utah. But he opened with the classic, I think it's a George W. Bush phrase, isn't it? We got him. We got him. Obviously a high level of confidence, and he explained that a family member reached out to a family friend. So it's possible that the father of the killer, of the assassin, reached out to the pastor rather than the initial reporting that the pastor saw the photos, reached out to the father. One way or the other, apparently pastor, reverend, and the father of the perpetrator in communication with one another. And this is big, big news, of course. And also the Governor Cox of Utah, referred to him as Robinson, right? And his name, according to multiple reports now, Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, from Utah, identified as the Charlie Kirk assassin in custody, the suspect in custody, and that the father turned him in. That is big stuff, big goings-on, and a good family. That's what you're looking for from a family. There's no doubt about it. I got to tell you, the Democrats have raised a lot of bloodthirsty goblins in the United States of America, and they're all over college campuses. They're in newsrooms. They're some of them are adult. They went to Ivy League schools. They went to California state schools. They've been indoctrinated and brainwashed by the left, and they believe that murder is perfectly acceptable. Polls even show that Democrats in particular think that violence is perfectly acceptable in achieving your goals because they've been raised by the left without American values, not American values, but with left-wing values, and hence all the violence, since the left is the most murderous death cult in the history of the world. And amazing stuff. Now, we also have a number of audio cuts. Let's go to that video of the 20-somethings posting videos online, and they put it right out there on the internet for everybody to see that they're happy about a political assassination. They're happy about a murder of a 31-year-old man who married his bride in 2021. They have two children, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. The now widow and the two children, 3 years old and 1 year old, were present for the assassination of their husband and father. And there are 20-something Democrats out there celebrating all over the place, young men and young women, all Democrats.
I would say pour one out for Kirky boy, but I don't waste good beer on little bitches.
See, then they're posting these, they post videos of themselves online celebrating murder.
I haven't posted on TikTok in a long time, but I'm gonna now because rest in peace, bozo. This goes 100% to the Democrat Party, raising, training, brainwashing a generation of glassy-eyed zombies that openly celebrate murder.
Charlie Kirk just got put down like a dog in Utah, and I could not be happier. Praise be.
I do not, and I will not ever feel bad when bad people get what the they deserve.
Young women, this is seemingly normal-looking young women and young men very publicly declaring their admiration for a murderer and their happiness with a political assassination.
Charlie Kirk got shot? That's awful. That's so sad. Hope he recovers well.
Being completely facetious, dripping with sarcasm. The Democrat Party has done this to the country. The Democrat Party has done this to our political discourse. The Democrat Party, with their cultural dominance, has done this to the United States of America and, quite honestly, to the world. You know, the author of horror stories, Stephen King, he's out there on Al Gore's amazing internet, and he gets his news from MSNBC. So he's a moron, Stephen King. And he tweeted out
he advocated stoning gays to death. Just saying. Of course, he never did anything of the kind, but Stephen King is so stupid and so ignorant. I got to tell you, that's amazing stuff. And Jessica Waters says Charlie Kirk was not controversial or polarizing man. Charlie Kirk was a patriot, and that's what Stephen King responded with. He advocated stoning gays to death, just saying. No, actually, Hamas does that, and you guys all support Hamas and the genocide of the Jews. Now, let's go to the FBI director in Orem, Utah, at the press conference where maybe they'll take questions today, even though they did not last night. The press conference from Orem, Utah, FBI Director Kash Patel.
Partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilize these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake Field Office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff, You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation.
All right, this is the chief of the state police coming up. I'd like at this moment to go back to the governor, Governor Cox, who early on in his remarks provided some information that I think is relevant, pertinent information that everyone should know. And here is Utah Governor Cox.
Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate.
Full of hate and spreading hate. And at dinner, he's talking about how much he hates Charlie Kirk. And he had become more political in recent years. And obviously, this is the Democrat Party's influence on the psychopathic killer, the assassin, who will likely in Utah be eligible for the death penalty. I'm not sure if they still have the firing squad, but I was having a nice conversation last night with a nice woman who said that if she could flip the switch for the electric chair, she'd like to do it. And I said, well, you know, I think they still have the firing squad in Utah. You might sign up early, maybe get in line and see what you can get. Now, Mike Smith is a Utah County sheriff, and the sheriff, Mike Smith, involved in the arrest of the psycho killer.
And that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
Now, these people are such nice, good, decent, smooth, relaxed, normal people.
I also want to give a special thanks
Kash Patel
to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
I got to say, it's nice to hear that they're working and playing well together. It really is. It genuinely is. Doesn't always happen. And it's true, what do you say, 33 hours between the time of the assassination and the arrest of the Democrat that assassinated Charlie Kirk, the great American Christian, father of two, husband, loving person, American, a guy who said, you know, if you disagree with me, go to the front of the line, step up, tell me why I'm wrong, and we'll have a civil, smiling discussion about it. And the Democrat Party said, well, we can't have that. We're going to have to kill him. Just as the Democrat Party decided that Donald Trump had to be assassinated, and members of the Democrat Party. It's not officially the DNC that does this, but they push all the propaganda, and everybody's Hitler, and they're Nazis, and they're fascists, and they're the Gestapo, and then people are inspired to shoot to kill because of the Democrat Party's rhetoric. People are inspired to show up at Brett Kavanaugh's house with a gun and kidnapping tools because of the rhetoric of the Democratic Party. And the Democrat Party, since the assassination of Charlie Kirk, has been called upon repeatedly, including by me on Twitter, to come out and announce that you're dialing down the rhetoric. And instead, they've come out and they have maintained the level of venom and lunacy that caused this 22-year-old now who assassinated Charlie Kirk to become more political in recent years. It's the Democratic Party that is causing this violence. And then they come out and say, oh, no, 82% of political violence is caused by Republicans. And then you can't name an incident. We had on Newsmax last night, Walmart in San Antonio, Texas, where 41 people were shot. Turns out it was a domestic violence incident, and the Democrat wanted to blame it on conservatives and Republicans and conservative rhetoric because they have nothing to hang their koofies on. You can live a better digital life with one of our newest partners. We love our partners. WebRoot. Just great. My best girl and I chose WebRoot because the total protection product, and with the recent news of a major credit reporting agency data breach that affects over 4 million people, listen, this really gives you peace of mind. WebRoot's total protection is an all-in-one device, privacy and identity protection that can help keep you safe in the event that your personal data is compromised, which happens all the time. WebRoot's total protection allows identity protection for up to 10 devices on your family plan. WebRoot's coverage includes antivirus protection, VPN, cloud backup, and a whole lot more. WebRoot allows me and my best girl to have a better digital life. That's the fact, especially in the wake of these continued data breaches. Right now, you get 50% off, half off, of WebRoot's Total Protection Plan or WebRoot's Essentials Plan when you go to webroot.com/plant. That's me, Plante. Why is there an E on the end? Nobody knows. Again, get 50% off, half off of WebRoot's Total Protection or WebRoot's Essentials Plan. All you have to do is go to webroot.com/plant. All right, we're on the story here for you. And we're also gobbling up and gathering up all the rest of the news of the day. It's a mad, 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 mad world out there. And as you might imagine, I point the finger at the Democrats. All right, we're on the press conference. I've got to say the governor in Utah, Spencer Cox, just had a very, very strong minute or so, and I want to turn that around and share that with you. Very strong, and he wasn't being political about it, but he was explaining the difference between, in the end, the Democrat Party, mob political violence in the streets, assassinating, shooting, suicide attacks. He left out the suicide attacks, and Republicans and conservatives who held vigils. And we have returned. The governor of the great state of Utah is Spencer Cox. And at the press conference, he seems to be carrying the lion's share. He is the highest-ranking person there, I guess. And FBI Director Kash Patel is standing behind him. Has not taken the bull by the horns here. But here is Governor, Republican Spencer Cox of the great state of Utah. And I got to say, he's very strong. He's been very strong at the press conference. And here he laid out some very, very important observations, let's say, about, and what he's saying is, we're conservatives, we're Republicans. Our guy was assassinated. We didn't start burning cities like the Democrats did when a criminal junkie resisting arrest died of a heart attack, and the Democrats started burning Portland, Oregon, as the Democrats did. And here is the governor of the great state of Utah, Spencer Cox.
I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last 2 nights.
And across the country.
There was no rioting. There was no looting. There were no cars set on fire.
Democrats.
There's no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes, because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse.
Now, the Democrat Party's leadership has not come forward to calm the waters. They have not ordered, and they can order all of their violent, mentally ill gangs of thugs to stand down. We've seen them do it before repeatedly. But the great governor said, look at the way we responded. There was no violence. There was no rioting. There was no looting, no fires. They're not burning police cars and attacking police stations and federal courthouses like the Democrats over George Stinking Floyd, career criminal who sadly died as a result of the way that he lived his life. And it's a tragic life, no doubt about it. But then why would you burn buildings in Portland? Why would you try to kill a young community lifeguard in Kenosha, Wisconsin, while you're burning that city down because a career criminal died of cardiac failure while resisting arrest with fentanyl and methamphetamine coursing through his bloodstream? Well, because you're Democrats. But good for Spencer Cox for pointing out and making it clear, that's not us. That's not who we are. No, we had vigils. We offered prayers. And that's the difference, right there in a nutshell, by Spencer Cox, between the Democratic Party in the 21st century and the Republican Party, between conservatives, the party of peace and of decency and of God and of faith and of church, of Jesus Christ, the party of family, a normal husband and a normal wife. The husband is a man. The wife is a woman. The children are a boy and a girl. And the Democrat Party is so screwed up and so mental and so violent and so prone to criminal conduct today. I could go on for days just citing what they've done in the last few years, the political violence that they have normalized. And it was all normal until January 6th on Capitol Hill. Then, oh, no, I can't believe this is happening. It just happened for 3 days rather than for 3 hours at the White House. Days earlier, it was a few months earlier, when the president and the first family had to be evacuated because of the Democrat Party's organized violence, mob violence. But the governor is 100% right. We didn't respond with looting and fires and violence and rioting and burning police cars. We responded with vigils and with prayers, and he wasn't done yet, Governor Cox.
These are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country.
Good point.
But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me.
Now, this man should be all over every network news broadcast today and tonight, to the extent that he will appear on CNN and MSDNC, MS-13, DNC. It will be to ridicule him. It will be to attack him. It will be to mock him, as they have been doing with Charlie Kirk on station after station. MSDNC had to fire one of their favorite communist pig dogs who hates humanity, and they didn't want to. At first they suspended him. Then the heat was dialed up a little bit, and so they fired the creep. And I got to say, the governor, just great there, just outstanding. Well, that said, let's go out of the telephones. I know there's more, and I tell you, we've got, I talked about this yesterday as we were learning about the fact that Charlie Kirk was just asked 2 questions about transgender people murdering people in mass shootings as he was shot. And that raised my eyebrow, certainly. And I said, well, wait a minute. Was that guy there with the gunman?
I like to not use the term shooter because I think a shooter should be served up to your friends at a bar, and everybody should enjoy shooters, but they've minimized and kind of made it cheerful. The shooter, he's a murderer, an assassin, a killer, a gunman, and it looked to me like, wow. Now, in fact, let's now that I've brought that up and set it up like that, I played the audio yesterday of the individual. We now know the name of the individual because he came forward and posted a video, and he is a Utah student, and his name is Hunter Kozak. Hunter Kozak was at the, and he doesn't agree with Charlie Kirk, didn't agree, can't agree anymore, he's been assassinated, but the student is apparently a Democrat, Hunter Kozak, and he went to the Charlie Kirk event at the University in Utah, and he got to the front, and he asked him about transgender murderers and mass shootings.
Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
All right, I'm going to give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Right.
And that's when the shot was fired. Now, he's there setting him up on this transgender shooters, and then we learned that the rifle found in the woods, inexplicably perhaps, with transgender messaging on it, and the news media downplaying that with ridiculous headlines, absurd headlines, saying, oh, there are cultural messages on the bullets. CBS News, I think it was, with cultural messages, they said. No, transgender and Antifa messages, Democrat Party talking points. But never mind that. So that's the guy that asked the question. And yesterday I raised this issue, and I had questions about it. Was this guy in cahoots with the killer, who we now know to be Tyler Robinson? Was he setting up the situation? And this guy, Hunter Kozak, posted a video on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, I guess in an effort to explain himself. And Hunter Kozak, in the video that he himself posted on Al Gore's Amazing Internet, because he's like, people are asking about me. And the nice reporter lady asked a question. I think she did a great job of saying to the police, have you found this person that asked the question, because it sounds like a setup, particularly when you find the transgender messaging on the bullets when you found the rifle in the woods. But Hunter Kozak posted a video, I guess, to explain himself.
You sick psychos that think this is the answer. It's not. I don't know what else to say. It's not. It's awful, and a father doesn't have his kids anymore. Charlie had 2 kids and a wife. And, like, not to make this about me, but I have 2 kids and a wife, and if my 1-year-old boy, like his 1-year-old boy, will grow up without memories of his dad, it's a tragedy, and it's hard to grapple with.
Okay, so he's posting a video, and no, I'm not a monster. I didn't. I was just asking on behalf of transgender people. He said, only 5 transgender mass shooters. Like that's encouraging, since they're, 0.001% of the population. And 5 is a wild underestimation and a falsehood. At least a dozen can be cited immediately. Hunter Kozak, who asked the question that Charlie Kirk was trying to answer when he was shot through the throat.
People have obviously pointed to the irony that the point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was right before he got shot. And that only makes sense if we stay peaceful.
Yeah, well, that hasn't happened in a long, long time. Yeah, dipstick. The point I was making is how peaceful the left is. Then you're an idiot. You're a flippin' idiot. You're a moron. You don't follow the news. You have no idea what's going on in the world. You live in a fantasy world. You probably get your fake information from MSDNC and from left-wing websites. The point I was making is how peaceful the left is. I couldn't even list all of the riots and all of the cities that the Democrats burned over a career criminal junkie who died resisting arrest named George Floyd. But never mind that. And then, I was also talking yesterday about the history of violence that the Democrat Party
brings with them. You think that they would have some baggage when it comes to assassinating Republican President Abraham Lincoln in 1865, assassinating Republican President James Garfield in 1881, assassinating Republican President William McKinley in 1901, a communist assassinating John F. Kennedy, a Democrat who wouldn't be allowed in the Democrat Party today. He'd be a Mitt Romney Republican. JFK assassinated by a communist in 1963. That's a Democrat commie. And, of course, Republican Teddy Roosevelt was shot and wounded after he left the presidency. Republican Ronald Reagan was shot and wounded while he was in the presidency. Donald Trump was shot and wounded while running for the presidency for the second time. All Democrats with guns, by the way. Not all rifles, handguns, too. Gerald Ford shot at by a Democrat named Squeaky Fromm, Lynette Squeaky Fromm of the Manson family. It's like a Democrat family, the Manson family, the Democrat family, you know. It's like that. Another Democrat housewife, Sarah Jane Moore, shooting at Gerald Ford as well. Republican. You notice the only Democrat shot at here was John F. Kennedy, and he was killed by a communist. Do you see a pattern of any kind here? And now Charlie Kirk, and the list goes on and on. Another Democrat on trial in Florida right now, also wanting to assassinate President Trump at his golf course in Florida. The Democrat Party is a violent political party and has a long history. You know, the 1968 riots all over the place. First of all, it was a Democrat Party volunteer that assassinated Martin Luther King. James Earl Ray was a volunteer for Democrat Governor George Wallace's presidential campaign. And honestly, and then I do want to remind people this, that he was on the loose for about 2 months before he was arrested in London, James Earl Ray, who, again, worked for the Democrat racist Governor George Wallace. The Democrat Party has a long, long history. 1968 Democratic Convention. They still call it a police riot. It wasn't a police riot. It was a Democrat riot. There's no doubt about it. Got their boy Ryan Ruth, who is on trial right now in Florida for wanting to shoot President Trump on the golf course and kill him. Amazing. And Ryan Ruth's son, Oran, cannot be with him in court because his son, Oran, is in a penitentiary for child porn, for kiddie porn. Kind of a typical Democrat family. The Democrat Party celebrates the majesty of Luigi Mangione, who shot and killed a CEO, Brian Thompson, on a sidewalk in New York for no reason at all. Honestly, they put Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the radical Islamic jihadi terrorist of the Boston marathon bombing, they put him on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. The Democrat Party incites violence, encourages their media, from Rolling Stone to MSDNC. You know, James Hodgkinson, who shot Congressman Steve Scalise, was a volunteer for Bernie Sanders' campaign, and he got all his news from MSNBC and from Rachel Maddow. There is definitely a pattern here. Now, the Democrats come out and they lie. 82% of political violence is perpetrated by Republicans, and they never name anything because they lie. Who was that lying senator that we played it yesterday or day before? Man. You know our good friends at GenericCBD.com. Have you met them? Well, today they've got something new for you, something special for you. It's a free sample of Generic CBD's best-selling CBD Muscle and Joint Cream. And if you haven't tried it yet, it's quite amazing, really. It's so powerful, just 2 or 3 drops might be all that you need. It melts right into your skin, into your stiff, aching hands, your knees, your neck, even your back. And it goes to work in a matter of seconds. It feels fantastic, and the relief can last for hours as well. Plus, it, of course, contains 0 THC, no druggy things in it, no THC. So you don't need a prescription from a doctor or anything. It's entirely generic CBD, and it's wonderful. My best girl started using it started with a finger and then the hands. It's like it works so well. Now she uses it all over the place. It's nice. It's good stuff. Try it now, and they'll send you not 1 but 2 free samples. That's 2 full treatments. You can keep one for yourself, give one to your best girl or your best friend. And all they ask is that you pay $2 to help them with the shipping and handling because they know you're going to love it and you're going to want more. It's going to be the best $2 you spend all year. Get your free sample from Generic CBD at yourfreesample.com. yourfreesample.com. That's yourfreesample.com. You're going to love it. That's yourfreesample.com. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness. Yeah, this is an amazing time in America. And I love you hear the voice of the conservatives, the Republican governor in Utah. We held vigils. We said prayers. We didn't burn, loot, riot, commit violence, as the Democrats do every filthy time, even after they assassinate people.
The point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was right before he got shot. The point that I was trying to make is how peaceful the left was right before he got shot.
Ah, yes. The guy asking the questions of Charlie Kirk about transgender shooters he was trying to downplay. Hey, only 5 mass murders by transgender people who are 0% of the population. Pay no attention to that. And as he was asking the questions, he says, having nothing to do with anything he says, he was shot and killed right in front of him. Now, the Governor Cox, talked about what was written on the shell casings of the psychopath.
Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow," and a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
If you read this, you are gay, LMAO. And this thing about bulges is apparently a transgender speak internet language that normal people would never understand. And yeah, you're not anti-fascist. You're the fascist, moron.